Hello, welcome to yet another episode on the beautiful, beautiful show, The Untold, where we meet really inspirational people that share their stories every single time we sit with them.
Yep.
I'm here joined by ALMazeedi, and I am Hussein Ajouz.
Are you?
I am.
Just double checking.
I swear to God.
I swear to God.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
All good, all good.
This is going to be a fun episode.
Yeah.
Something you're kind of interested in.
I am very interested in
entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurship.
Yes.
That's how you say entrepreneurship.
I can't say it today.
Yeah,
not
slow
today.
mo this shot,
Just
right?
not today. So we have a lot of questions. He's a man with a lot of experience, quite determined and motivational.
Yeah.
And let's just welcome him right
Let's
after
do it.
this. Yeah. Welcome back on The Untold. We are being joined by our very special guest, engineer Haytham Alhawaj. Welcome on the show.
Yeah, hello.
Welcome to the family. Welcome.
Thank you, Hussein.
It's good to have you here.
Yeah, so I want to start from the beginning of your story. It basically starts after high school, how you chose your career path, and then we'll go from there. So tell me, what did you chose engineering? What kind of engineering?
So when I finished high school, I was going for mechanical engineering.
Okay. Is it just because we're Kuwaitis and we become engineers for some reason?
Yeah, I mean that and my dad is a mechanical engineer.
Mechanical engineer, okay, runs in the DNA.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it runs in the DNA. I'm just trying to impress my dad.
Okay.
But
That's our problem.
yeah. And I didn't want to stay in Kuwait, so I wanted to go get a scholarship. And Chile, unfortunately, that year they stopped sending mechanical engineering abroad.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a problem.
And so, well, not really. It wasn't really a problem. Yeah, they had plenty of options to choose from. So I chose biomedical engineering, which was somewhat the closest. And it sounded interesting back then.
It does sound
still
fancy.
sounds
Sounds fancy.
Biomedical.
Yeah.
How many terms is
Biomedical
one?
engineer.
It's a really good conversation starter, right? So it's like,
You can develop bioweapons, right?
Jump over that.
it depends.
Jump over that. Yeah. You can move.
Well, yeah, so I chose biomedical engineering, and I did 4 years of that in the States.
Yeah.
And came back.
Nice.
It was a really interesting field of study. It gives you a bit of the best of both worlds, right? So you understand what doctors do.
Yeah.
So you speak both languages, right?
Oh, that's nice.
The medical and the engineering.
It's like the best of both worlds.
Yeah. So when you sit with doctors, they can't really speak nonsense to you,
Right.
because
You understand what
their
they're
lingo.
saying.
Yeah.
And the same thing with engineers.
With
You
engineers.
just-
Fair.
Yeah.
So you moved from the States and then you moved right away to Kuwait. And did you work in what you studied, or did you find yourself?
Yeah, so I did what everybody does,
Which
right?
is?
You graduate, you go to what is it called, Diwan al-Khidma.
Right. Apply.
You apply, and then you wait, and then
You wait. And you
just
get called.
So you get called. Yeah,
You get the call.
yeah.
The call.
So Ministry of Health.
Ministry of Health. Surprisingly, that's where they sent me to.
Yeah.
Weirdly.
Yeah.
Coincidence.
So and I spent I think a couple of years there. And as you know, most. Unfortunately, we don't really do technical work in ministries. It's mainly
like
admin.
Being a supervisor, maybe.
Yeah,
Overseeing
papers,
things, pushing
looking at
papers.
stuff.
Yeah. That was not the life you wanted.
No, and it wasn't. There wasn't an element of growth.
Right.
In it, right? So
Too comfortable. It's too comfortable.
exactly
Yeah.
what you're doing in day one, it's the
It's
same as
same.
day 100,
Yeah.
and so on until you.
It's a desk job.
Until you retire and.
Yeah.
So, so actually, not only it lacked the element of growth, but I think it, in a way, it made me regress.
Oh.
Yeah. So after a couple of years, I wanted to do a long division.
Okay.
And I struggled.
Really?
Yeah, I struggled. It's like,
It's like
I've studied for 4 years.
yeah. and so
because you're not applying what you've studied, really.
You're
like,
not. You've done hard work for 4
there,
years, and then you shelved it and doing nothing for Haytham. So I decided to pursue something different, challenging, something that got me out of my comfort zone.
Okay.
Which was?
So I started with a few of my friends an online booking system.
Booking system.
Yeah, that was. And I don't want to say, mention years, just not to expose my age, but that was 2010, I think.
Okay. It's only 13 years ago, only.
And that, gosh, yeah, it seems like but,
time flies, my friend.
So it was an online booking system for soccer fields.
But how did you segue into that? And
so
why that?
The entertainment scene in Kuwait for
booming.
guys was either you go to a coffee shop or you play soccer. And back then, new fields were coming out with this artificial grass, and there was really high demand on them. And so
So you managed to do the system to book those places.
Yeah, because
smart idea though.
Because they were inaccessible back then, right? You try to book them. It's hard. You have to call the house and beg him for a booking, and so we did that.
How many were you back then starting this?
So me and two of
your friends.
So
actually, I have a question. So you moved. Take that one step back. So you graduated. You worked in the public sector, the governmental sector. What is it about you that told you that I don't like comfort and I want a challenge? Like, why didn't you enjoy the comfort like most people do?
I don't think most people enjoy comfort. It's just
they're complacent at this point.
Too scared to pursue things that involve discomfort. But comfort, I don't think anyone enjoys a routine that doesn't really add
value to their lives.
Value, challenges.
Doesn't utilize what you've studied either.
I mean, utilizing what you studied is one thing, but pursuing challenging tasks, I think it's a healthy exercise.
I think that's the difference between people that kind of like talk the talk and people that walk the talk kind of thing. Fair enough, exactly. So like they actually take the action to do it, because I actually agree with you. I mean, it makes sense now when you think of it. Like some people are just no one likes the comfortable life. It's just some people like to take action and some people don't. So you started this, let's call it business in booking soccer fields. But then again, you really, as Ahmad said earlier, you really went into something completely different. And now we're not talking, it's not soccer that I'm talking about or football. I'm talking more about entrepreneurship. So what took you all the way to that field? That's why I asked you how many people were there. I mean, is it because of these people? Were they the entrepreneurial side, or was it in you naturally?
No, I think it was in me.
Okay.
And again, if you abstract it, it's really the same. So it's there are different faces, but they correspond to the same thing, right? So if you pursue a degree, that's a challenge. That's something completely foreign to you. You go through the process and you accomplish your objective. The same thing with entrepreneurship, right? So you go, and it's a challenging task. There's a process, and then you accomplish what you're set out to do. So at face value, it seems like you're doing something completely different. But in reality, it's the same. And I get that a lot, because so we were doing this online booking system. We didn't have a space to conduct our business in, right? It's we're bootstrapping, really local. We're trying to keep expenses at a minimum.
Of course.
We're fueling the business out of our salaries. So we did most of our work in coffee shops, and we noticed that these coffee shops are actually not designed and built for people that are trying to work, right?
Nice. Okay.
So we decided to do a coffee shop.
Provide a space for that.
No, a coffee shop that sells coffee and food and provides workstations and things like
Nice.
that. So this was also in like 2009 maybe or 2010, and around the same time.
Right.
It was in parallel to this. And this is when we got asked this question again, right? It's like you study biomedical engineering and then you do an online system, and now you're doing HADA. It seems like you don't know what you want to do with your life.
Right.
But if you boil it down, it's really the same thing. It's you choose a goal and then you pursue it.
Absolutely. It doesn't matter what you're doing, kind of thing. I mean, if I think, as you said, if you boil it down, you'll always fall into the little skills that you learned, especially engineers, by the way. I always tell my friends that you, as an engineer, you have tremendous skills that you're not looking at. I mean, you're very analytical, you're a very critical person, you look at things differently to what others would look at, you know? Which adds value in business.
True, but I think we're all critical thinkers.
Yeah.
In engineering, it's heavily marketed and promoted that you're a problem solver, and of course this is what you do. But in reality, kids are problem solvers.
True.
You know what I mean? Everybody's a problem solver.
So you started a coffee shop out of seeing
so we
a
started
problem.
that coffee shop.
So you found a solution to a problem, which is something very entrepreneurial, obviously.
And see, that's the thing with, this is the thing with entrepreneurship right now.
Yeah.
It's a very natural thing.
Yeah.
Right? But the lingo around it makes it sound sophisticated and inaccessible.
Yeah.
Right? So when you say, this is very entrepreneurial, right? We're raising money. You're using terms that are specific to that field. It makes it seem like it's so hard. And if you think about it, people in Kuwait back in
50s,
they didn't even know how to write and read, and they conducted business. And
There
was no critical thinking, no degrees, you know what I mean? And they built empires. They traveled to India and to all these.
That's true.
And they, again, it's and see, it's funny because all disciplines they. I'm not sure if it's intentional or unintentional, but they do that. Like economics, for example. Economics, it's also common sense.
Yeah.
But the terminology and the lingo makes it seem like, okay, you need an expert to understand this field of work. Or
it's like outside of your capabilities kind of thing.
Exactly. It's kind of like building a wall around the...
By the way, I always said that's why it's ironic because I'm pursuing further education, but I always thought that pursuing further education, especially in business, actually puts you in a box rather than opens the box, because you start thinking too much before doing anything. You'd actually overthink it.
Overanalyze things.
You overanalyze. I mean, if I want to start a business, you start kind of like thinking of the books, you know, if you flip them in your mind. It's like a checklist that you have to go through. But sometimes in entrepreneurship, there's a big factor of risk taking.
So now you're doing your MBA.
Yes.
What's your bachelor
in? Psychology and business.
Psychology and business. Yeah. So I did an MBA.
What was it in?
MBA.
Business
administration.
And when I finished, I realized that it's really common sense made sophisticated.
Yes.
That's
actually very well said.
And it's the biggest advantage is when I sit with someone and they start throwing abbreviations, right? They say, what's the ROI, what's the HADA? It's like, خلاص, this is not intimidating. You need to calm down and speak the language.
All right.
Well, we'll take a quick break and continue this conversation right after this.
continuing the conversation and literally building up on what we said earlier, how you kind of like were sitting in a coffee shop and you realized that, hey, listen, there's a big problem, and you kind of like took action. So after it, as far as we're aware that you're an entrepreneur right now, and what you do right now is you run a co-working space where it's, I would say it's actually similar concept to the coffee shop.
Yeah.
But I mean, just for the viewers, I mean, how did you jump from the coffee shop concept to what you're doing today? What happened in the middle?
We started the online business, and we didn't have a space that accommodated us back then. So we thought of setting up a coffee shop that would cater for people like us.
Yes.
And we did that, and that was working fine until we reached a certain size, right? We needed to start licensing. We needed to get some staff and employees. So the coffee shop wouldn't allow you to do that, right? And we had at the time we had a few more startups that we were involved in, and each startup had its own office space.
Nice.
And resources like its own meeting rooms, own secretary, cleaning guy.
Nice.
And so looking at it, we realized it's such an inefficient way to conduct business, right? Because we use the meeting room once a month.
Yeah.
But we have to pay for it.
Exactly. So it's very inefficient.
Full rate. For a startup, you need a secretary to maybe answer one phone call a day, but you still pay a full-time salary. The same thing with the cleaning guy, right? You need a clean place. It's not that intense, It's like you need them to come once a week or something like that. So we thought, well, maybe there is an opportunity if we bring in all the startups in one place, where we give them what they need to set up and do all their work, and then the common resources, we sort of let them share it, right?
Nice.
So it revolves around the concept called collaborative consumption.
Exactly.
Right? So instead of consuming individually, you consume collaboratively.
You're creating community.
Yes. So this was the evolution of and looking backward, right? It seemed so random, having an IT business,
right,
and an F&B business, and then something in the real estate. But they all actually came together, right? Because the co-working space is built on an IT infrastructure, right? For booking the meeting rooms, paying for the monthly dues. So we capitalized on whatever experience that we have gained in the IT business. It also has a coffee shop and a hospitality element to it.
Yes, I remember.
So we sort of incorporated that into the equation.
Nice.
And then it came all together nicely. I'm saying nicely now, but it was actually a lot of trials and errors.
I'm sure. I mean, it's like a lean startup approach.
So we started with one place, and then we realized. So the entire concept was building a community. So the concept revolves around building a community in that physical space. So when we started off, it was just chilly corridor with offices.
Yeah.
And we're like, yalla, let's build a community.
Nice.
Then we started looking, and we realized you can't build a community in a corridor. It's hard for people to actually meet and talk. So we're like, okay. So we went and we
want an open space.
Yeah, we did some demolishing and we had a bigger space.
Nice. That's recently, or is that a long time? That's a long
2014.
time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Almost a decade.
Then it was. So then we started actually seeing, there's a community forming. Then we realized that people actually let their guards down around food.
Oh.
We started doing social hours, and we're bringing
The way to the soul is
exactly.
the food.
Yeah, and there is
That's
truth to
lovely.
this. So we started doing that, and slowly we sort of figured out the equation to cracking that
Code.
That code. And especially our culture, it's not very open to
such
mingling
concepts.
and having
such concepts.
especially in a business setup. So it was
something new.
It was something new that we had to educate people about.
Yeah.
So when someone comes in to rent an office and he's like, "What am I going to share these facilities with people? I want my own space.
I want my own space.
But slowly they started seeing the value
of sharing space.
Of sharing space and operating within a community of like-minded people.
Right.
It's a new concept.
Yeah,
I feel.
and everyone needs connections is a nice way to get those connections.
Especially in the startup scene.
Yeah.
Especially in the startup scene. I'm sure.
So what we started noticing that mentorship started happening organically.
Between amongst
members,
100%.
So they know each other. They
knock each other's doors.
And he's like, I have this problem.
How do I solve it? That's actually really nice.
And so mentorship started happening organically, right? Okay. Because mentorship, if you want to force it, it's like
it needs
there's a lot of
needs to be accepted on the other end to receive that mentorship.
Exactly. But when it's when it happens naturally, it just happens.
It just happens.
Another thing that we also noticed, is that it created that support group. So when you're having tough times and problems and you're having issues collecting from clients and you go talk to people, you see that these are common problems. So all of a sudden, this problem becomes something that's...
You're not alone in the boat, essentially. Because you usually feel like, am I the only one that this is not working for? But you're literally a startup.
And these things actually push people and help them to
succeed,
continue and
improve.
Persevering.
Persevering. So, everything I've heard so far takes a lot of courage. Making these decisions. How do you define courage in your own words as you have this huge career so far?
How do you define courage?
Yeah, to you, in your own words.
I think courage is being able to take a step, even though you're scared, and it's taking a step in fear.
It's like a leap of faith.
Exactly.
It is.
So this is courage, and courage. It's not the absence of fear. It's being able to take a step in the presence of fear.
Interesting.
If I'm making sense.
I love that. I actually love that.
So it's. If fear is non-existent, there's something wrong. You know what I mean? You're probably reckless. And,
right.
But you're afraid, but you still take that step. And I think
that's how you define it.
Yeah. But to be fair, if you looking at you, to be honest, I see someone that's also very, very disciplined. On the other side, we're talking about the working out side of things.
Right.
You wake up every morning at 4 a.m., you work out at 5 in the morning.
Was that because of your experience and time abroad? Did that shape the Haytham we know today?
No, I started that routine actually
from high school.
No. When I came back.
When I came back.
I came back. So it wasn't really.
So then, what did that add to you in terms of value? That experience.
So again, I think if you abstract it, even working out,
right,
it's exactly the same experience as starting a business. So you undergo discomfort,
right?
At
the start,
for a period of time,
every
day when you work out, it's uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable until you get to that point.
It's a lie if someone tells you, yes, I'm on the treadmill for an hour and
I feel amazing.
I'm not,
but that's literally growth, isn't it?
Yeah,
exactly. Growth. So every day you program your mind that okay, I'm gonna go through this uncomfortable phase.
Yeah.
So I can get to that comfortable phase.
Exactly, and it teaches you also delayed gratification. You
Delayed
go work out today. You don't see anything.
You don't see anything.
And
It's
you have
commitment,
to keep
time,
persistence,
dedication,
yes.
persistence.
And the same thing, the
In
same
business.
Yeah.
discipline.
It's an interesting way to look at building businesses as working out for the first time or after having a break.
once you start a business and you actually go through this, it only makes sense.
It makes sense.
So, for example, during COVID, running was my way, not escape. It's my way of dealing with
the pressures
all
of
the
life.
stress.
Right,
yeah, so it's
Must be a lot of stress. And
exactly.
That's
So
right.
I would go run, for example, 20 kilometers, and it's
Mashallah.
very stressful.
Right.
Then I know, okay, it's gonna finish.
It's gonna finish at the end. There's a finish line. I'm gonna cross it.
You'll finish, and if you come at the other end, you'll come stronger.
Right. Absolutely.
So if you make it, it's
Amazing.
you'll be that much more stronger, experienced.
Absolutely. You know what they say? What doesn't kill you
makes you stronger.
100%.
Is that a song or something?
These rappers were on something.
It's the Joker.
It's the Joker.
Joker.
I'm still back to your stay in Arizona. You became the president of the student union, right?
Yeah. So we
Was that for the Kuwaiti students?
Yeah. So we formed. At ASU, we.
How did that come apart? How did you become the president? Did you start the union, or the union was existent before you guys?
No, it wasn't there. And then so I rallied the guys. We were, I think, 70 plus students there, but you don't see them.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why you need
fragmented.
Yeah. So I guess from what you're saying about the union, it's a great way that you guys started it, because there was a lack of such union, and you guys started the first one, and it's still continuing, I'm guessing, to today, right? But how did you get to become the president? Was it just happened? Was it your idea? Did you run? Was there elections for it? Did they vote for you?
I rallied the guys.
Right.
I told them, let's do this, and they started pitching to them why we need it, why we should go for it. So I was a big promoter.
Yes.
And then we
decided that
we gathered and we said, okay, we have these posts and
these positions. Someone needs to fill the shoes.
Elections.
Right.
So they nominated me to be
nice.
the president. And I'm the one that's pushing for it.
Right.
That's fair.
It's the most committed. Most committed to it. Yeah.
But so it was good. It was
good experience.
Really good.
You guys
experience.
did cultural exchanges with the Americans and the Kuwaiti culture. Amazing.
Cultural days. We would talk about the country.
That's lovely.
That's the beautiful part of studying abroad.
Yeah, and it also brings people together.
Together, yes.
You know what I mean? It was a really good experience, and it's early work in community building, kind of. You know what I mean? So it definitely added to the experience moving forward.
Yeah. It also helps change the image that certain people have of us from the media, just by going to these cultural events.
Tackle stereotypes and stuff like that. Yeah,
of course.
That's amazing. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Well, I believe we're reaching the end of our show.
We are, yeah.
Any last words, tips in terms of entrepreneurship? I can't say it today. You
entrepreneurship.
Say it. That's the word.
Yeah.
Any final words? Yeah, tips.
I would urge everybody to try. It's such a shame going through life without actually attempting. Or taking a shot in this.
Right. But if we all open a business, then we don't have any customers, because we're all businessmen at this point.
Nah, I mean, every business has a customer.
Right?
If you look at the F&B sector, right? Restaurants have been opening since I don't know when. And
every day there's one opening, I feel.
And there's still very successful ones. Some that are...
100%. It's a very, very big business in Kuwait. It's very saturated.
And then they wonder why I'm overweight.
Regardless of the sector, I think... starting your own business, I think people shouldn't go. Of course, financial goals are very important, but the learning experience is priceless.
Priceless. Because you get only to learn it through the process. There is no school for that. You just go through it.
Definitely.
Well, thank you for your time, Haytham. It was a lovely conversation.
It's a pleasure.
With you today.
Thank you so much for all the wise lessons.
Thank you.
We'll be back for the wrap-up. What an episode. I learned more today, as we do, from an can't ask that question again. I just couldn't get confused. I easily get confused sometimes.
I love the commitment, and I think entrepreneurship requires a lot of commitment, and he's someone with a lot of commitment. You can easily see that with a working out lifestyle. The guy wakes up at 4 a.m. in the morning every day.
That's the part that I feel like he's disciplined.
Definitely requires a lot of discipline. I think entrepreneurship requires a lot of discipline. He just kind of like merged everything in his life to this moment kind of situation.
And 5 a.m. CrossFit classes can be fun. Can be fun. Can be.
One day.
If you manage to wake up on time.
One day.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, tune in next time for more beautiful guests right here on the Untold. Good night.
Good night.